Yeah, guys, here's the fish room. Looking way different. I mean, not that different. Today I was gonna bring you something pretty cool. It was gonna be the brand new reef. But the brand new reef is on hiatus currently because I ain't got no time. But I do got the jib here. I'll bring it inside and show you guys what's up. Oh, wow, the fish room's looking different. All right, we're back in the fish room, and I can show you guys a few things. There's a lot that is going on here that is a lot different than it was. You guys can notice right here, we are missing the 60-gallon. Where has it gone? It is now a void of space. Voila! The 60-gallon is over here on its new stand. I'm gonna show you guys some of the build for the stand. As you can see, highlighted like where the tank is going. What is the plan for this? First and foremost, I wanna let you guys know that this is where the sump's going down here, obviously. And this tank stand is not done. None of the fascia work is done. None of the trim panels on, none of the door, any of that stuff. Just the tank and the holes for the return and everything. And the top is stained. As you can see, it's this nice kind of dark brown, what is that, dark brown stain? I don't know, I'm sure there's a color for it. And then the front here, I'm gonna be replacing that trim so it runs the full length down here. And part of the fun is that the spot here where the 60-gallon was is actually going to get, and let me turn this around. So that spot where the 60-gallon was is going to be getting these holding containers that actually, these are sort of just my catch-all for all of the things that I acquire as time goes on. You guys can see, you know, I've got like different, what kind of hose is this called? Plastic tubing, polycarbonate plastic tubing in different colors, along with test kits and all sorts of pieces. This is where my catch-all stuff continues to end up. Now I don't want that here because right here where the reef is actually going to be where the new 120s are going to be going there. You guys know that I pretty much leveraged everything I could. I spent all my money, and Vicky bought one also. We've got the two new 120s going in, and they're both going to be going where the reef is. So the reef is actually going to be occupying the 60-gallon that is over there now. So the 60-gallon that's over there is actually where the reef is going to be moving forward. I'm like super dark in here, I don't know why. Hold on. Let's go like this. Yeah. But that's where the reef is gonna go. The reef is gonna go into the 60-gallon cube, and I had planned on doing that today. Today was kind of the plan to do that. Unfortunately, I ain't got time. You know, I'm heading out of town again, so I'm having to prep everything else. And since I realized, okay, I've got some time, what do I want to get done? Well, I want to get the 240 ready to go for me to be out of town, and then be able to, you know, be ready to set up the rest of the stands over here, move the reef and stuff when I get back, because I'll have a lot more time when I get back to do that. The upside of that is that we're gonna rescape some of the 240 here because I gotta get it prepped for while I'm gone, and I wanna move a bunch of stuff around, and I'll kind of explain that in a little bit of detail here. Let me get back behind the camera because I wanna show you guys the tank here a little bit. So the 240 is in a little bit of distress, as you can see. It's not that great. I mean, things are going pretty well. Some of the algae is out of control. Things by the edges are just kind of nonsense. I'm not really liking where the rocks are and all that, the hardscape and all that. Plants are growing strangely. So there's a lot of stuff I want to move around, and now seems like a good time to do it because most of everything that's going on in here will just be moved around and relocated to another spot within the tank. So I don't necessarily have to take stuff out or break the system down, which I would have to with the reef. The reef, I'd actually have to break it down and then reset it up for all the critters that live in there and stuff. So I figured this is a better use of time and actually show you guys what's up with the 240. So let's get, there's probably a time lapse or something like that that I'm gonna have to shoot. So let's get that rocking and rolling, and then I'll check back in for the end of the video. You want a piece of my heart? You want to give from a soul? All right, guys, hopefully you had an opportunity to check out what was going on there, see what was happening. I moved around a lot of the hardscape, a lot of dragonstone, along with the Mopani wood. You guys can see the fish and everybody in here are still pretty happy with what's going on, even though the water is super murky. It's a big cloudy mess, and I understand it's not the greatest video you've probably ever seen. So I'm probably gonna call this part 1 of aquascaping this 240. I just basically ran out of time today. I just don't have enough time, and I gotta head out to Minnesota, which means I've got some other things I need to finish before I go, and we're gonna hit the road, back on the road again, to come out and see some of you guys, which I'm super excited to come out and meet some of the fans, go to some of the fish rooms that are out there in the United States. Is so awesome. Hopefully you guys checked out some of the stuff from Europe, you know, like Aquarium Glazer. That tour was so cool. Honestly, I wish I would have had more time there. We didn't have a ton of time, and thank you very much to Aquarium Glazer for taking us out there. Thank you to Dinnerlay, Chris Lukup for hosting, everybody involved. That was so cool, and I hope to just get more and more stuff like this out to you guys and be able to keep track of what's going on. Now, in that vein, that's me making a promise to you guys to make more videos on this 240, how the aquascape's coming along, and give you guys a better idea of what's happening. A quick little point about this tank, because this is the most common question I get about it, is what substrate is in here. And I will tell you something, just about every single commercial substrate is in this aquarium. This is all of the accumulated, you know, all of the laterite that I've got, Eco Complete, Fluval Stratum, you know, the list is so long. Those are just the ones that come off the top of my head. But people often ask me what the substrate is in here. So this is basically just, I used to have a giant fish room with lots of fish tanks in it and stuff, and I ended up with tons of different kinds of substrate. What did I end up doing? I ended up mixing them and just putting them in the 240, because this tank is 8 feet long by 2 feet front to back. It's a pretty big, takes a pretty good amount of substrate to get this thing filled up. So that's just what I did, just out of necessity. I said, hey, you know what? Most of these substrates have an upside, a downside, all that kind of stuff. Hey, let's see what happens if I mix them all together. Long term, it's been working out fairly well. I would give it, on an A, B, C, D scale, I would give it a B though. I'm not 100% happy with how the substrate is in here. Hopefully I'll be swapping it out at some point in time, but that's gonna be a really big task that I'm kind of gonna put off onto the back burner for some amount of time until I can figure out exactly what I wanna do long term with this tank. As I mentioned early in the video, I've got a bunch of other tanks going into the fish room, so that's the main thing that I'm going to be working on in the upcoming videos, and getting this thing cleaned up. Most of the hardscape work is done at this point. I just need to start planting everything, and I just don't have time tonight, so I'm just going to go finish packing and get ready to head out. Well, the downside is this tank isn't done. The upside is you guys will always get an opportunity to tune in and check the progress of this moving forward. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, all that nonsense. Head over to Patreon, blah, 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 and I'll be back from Minnesota before you know it. Later.